Chapter 1. A dense, hazy mist hung over the tops of shapeless houses and shabby shops, which stood motionless beneath a pale, dead sky. The ground was barren like sandpaper that could scrape the moisture out of anyone who dared walk with bare feet, and the air was thin and dry. Indeed, in this town there was no moisture at all. Each morning, when the town bell struck 9, the people would emerge from their homes and scuttle aimlessly like fallen leaves blown in the wind. Not a wrinkle could be seen on their faces, for they rarely changed their expressions or bothered with the weary motion of talking, smiling, or frowning. Nothing, not kindness nor anger, changed their daily routines, and to engage in any deep thought would be absurd. How could one ponder the mysteries of life when nothing unusual ever took place and no mysteries ever appeared? Not only were the people dry, like sun-baked sand left on a deserted beach, but even the birds had forgotten how to sing. The trees had no leaves, flowers never bloomed, and the lakes and ponds were only empty holes in the cracked, barren ground. There were clouds, but they never produced any rain. Had it not been for the town's deep well, they wouldn't even have enough to drink. But it wasn't always this way. Many years ago, the people had been moist and fervent. They laughed and sang and quarreled. The men tipped their hats to the ladies who returned the courtesy with a curtsy. Travelers had visited often to trade goods, and the town had prospered. Then the sponges came and sucked up all the moisture. It seemed as if they had consumed the rays of the sun, the shimmer in the stars, and freshness of the air. They removed the laughter of the children, and even the twinkle in the eyes of grandfathers. Everything they touched was drained, and when at last they departed, the town was left empty and dry. That is, except for one crafty cat who had no name. He foresaw the intent of the sponges, so he acted as if he were already dry. It never occurred to the sponges to rob an already drained cat. He spent most of his days lying in a corner, sleeping, unmoving. His black fur kept him well hidden, even with the spotch of white on his face, so he was easily forgotten. It was to the cat's advantage, once the sponges left, for people began to feed him at 5 o'clock sharp each and every day, unlike before when they would laugh and talk and forget until many hours later. The mice forgot to run, so they made for easy targets, and the nameless cat's family no longer cared when he jumped on the counter, nor yelled when he tested his claws on an unsuspecting chair. For many years the cat lived in utter contentment. But eventually he became bored of the sameness of every day, and tired of the dry nothingness of the village. No one played with him any more, or engaged in conversation. Catching mice that didn't run wasn't much of a challenge or much fun. Worst of all, no one in the village ever read any more, so there were never any open books laying about for him to nap atop. And though cats hate to get wet, he began to yearn for the life-giving rain to return. So he took it upon himself to see the dry mayor. When brought before the mayor, the cat stopped and gazed up at the man's tall wooden desk. It was covered in paperwork so high that the mayor had to sit upon many books just to reach the top of the pile.
"What is it you want, cat?" the dry mayor asked, not moving his eyes from his papers. "I'm very busy with nothing and have no time for something."
"There are troubles about," the nameless cat meowed, "that need your attention, if you please."
"What?" the mayor asked, scratching his head through the white curly wig. "I cannot hear you clearly. Speak up, you curious feline."
"Perhaps you should put down your paper," the cat said in a raised voice, "and listen to what I have to say." The dry mayor heard and turned a distracted glance down from his tall wooden desk. "You need to send a messenger," the cat continued, "to find those old sponges and take back the moisture they have stolen."
"What do you know of dry people's ways? You're just a cat and have no understanding of important matters," the mayor replied. "But do as you wish. If it is a messenger you want, then you it will be. I have too many nothings I must attend to. Now leave."
The cat kept still and stared at the dry mayor. "Very well. I shall go myself. If it weren't for my very boredom, I wouldn't be concerned. But it seems that going may be something, and that is far better than nothing." The mayor took no notice that the nameless cat still remained. He continued to read the dry paperwork while scratching at his curly wig. The cat turned trotted to the door, and then shook his paws clean, as if removing dirt stuck from between his black toes.